Just kidding. That's alright. See, some of them already came off their chains. Oh, see, and that was a gold medal from Winterberg. And I turned and I looked over my shoulder, expecting to see another skeleton athlete. And there was a 4-man bobsled coming towards us. 4-man bobsled's like 1,600 pounds. It's like a car. And right when I turned and saw them coming towards us, I jumped to my feet. And there was a staircase behind me, so I couldn't jump out of the way. So I had to take a step to jump past it. And right when I took that step, the bobsled hit me from behind. Hit the back of my leg, and I went flying through the air and landed on the asphalt. And I remember jumping up to my feet, trying to see. I was in shock. I had no clue what had just happened. I jumped up to my feet, and I fell back to the ground. And I jumped up to my feet just to try and see what had just happened, and I fell back to the ground. And that was when I looked down at my leg, and my bones were sticking out. And I remember thinking, how could this happen? What just happened? How did this happen? And 1 or 2 tears started coming down my cheeks. And just at that moment, my surgeon walked in the door. And she's holding a clipboard. And I remember her looking down at her notes, and she looked up at me. And she saw these tears coming down my cheeks. And she said, "Why are you crying?" Yeah, see, that's what I felt like doing, like, what? I'm like, I was speechless. I wanted to, now I've thought of a lot of comebacks. You know how you do that? Like, later on, you're like, oh, I should have said that, you know? I was speechless. I couldn't imagine that somebody was not sympathetic to what I'd just gone through. So she's sitting here and she's like, "Why are you crying? You have 2 choices. You can either look back and be upset at what that bobsled did and what those people did or what mistakes happened, or you can choose to go forward. What happened, happened. It's up to you to decide." Just like that. That was the absolute best thing I could have ever heard. The absolute best lesson I ever could have learned. We always have a choice. We always have a choice. I could look back and be upset that those bobsledders came through that finish line and they never pulled the brakes. He had never been in a bobsled before, the brakeman. I could have been very, very upset that I was the gold medal favorite and now my Olympic dream is gone. I could have looked back and been depressed and angry and let it hold me back. Or I could choose to move forward and say, my leg is not going to heal itself. It's broken. I've got to fix it, and I need to get myself from where I am now to where I want to be. You always have a choice. Do not blame your circumstances. I go into surgery, and all of a sudden, I wake up, and I look around, and I look down, and there's like 4 or 5 doctors around me. And one of them has a big hammer. And they're hammering the rod into my leg. Yeah, I know, right? So they're hammering it into my leg, and I'm like, I can't move. I can't feel it, but I can see it. And I'm like, And all of a sudden an anesthesiologist starts walking by me, and I'm like, "Excuse me." He's like looking around, like, "Who said that?" And I'm like, "Down here, excuse me." And I'm like, "I don't think I'm supposed to be awake for this." He looks down at me and he just takes the sheet and pulls it over my head, and I'm like, "I can still hear you." He must have given me something after that, because I don't remember anything until I got out of surgery, so that's good.